I'm very proud to announce our first presenter this morning. Our first presenter I've gotten to know over the last few years, and over the last few years of friendship and development in his business, we made a decision, and I say we because I'm actually one of the owners in this next presenter that's going to present to you this morning. We made a decision to bring pest control to Joplin, Missouri in a greater way. And we're very proud to bring someone that had a lot of expertise in the business. I tell everyone he is our resident bug geek because he knows everything about every type of insect that you can imagine, as well as chemicals and treatments, and yes, they do all forms of pest control. I'm very proud as one of the owners of It's Bugs or Us in Joplin, Missouri. Please welcome our market manager this morning, our first presenter, Mr. Danny Dixon. Danny.
All the way down, Jay. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So, are you guys ready for the best presentation ever? Yeah. Well, you're in luck because Chef Mike is going to be right after. That's right. So, I am Danny Dixon, and I am the market manager for It's Bugs or Us. And my passion is to protect you, your home, your family, your brand, and your business. Creating an environment of safety and success, keeping your family healthy, and keeping your customers coming back. So let's jump right into it. This is my family. Up at the left, or I guess, yeah, your left. I don't want to get them mixed up. This is not my wife, guys. This is my wife, Kimberly. And down at the bottom, we got Clayton, Gemma, Nathan, Lindsay, and Casey. So I got a lot of mouths to feed, guys. So this is my why, and this is why I grind every day. So some things that we do commercial and residential pest control. We cover ants, roaches, bed bugs, termites, wasps, hornets, fleas, wildlife trappings. This is like squirrels in your attic, armadillos or groundhogs that are burrowing under your sidewalk or your sheds. We take care of those. We take care of rodents, spiders, even snakes, guys. Snakes, other insects, any other insect you can possibly think of. And we also do virus protection for COVID-19 and other viruses. So we service Jasper and Newton County in an hour radius. And our goal is to expand into Springfield, Branson, Kansas City, St. Louis, Oklahoma, and Southeast Kansas is our goal. So you might say, why Joplin? Well, we did a little bit of research. I keep cutting out here, don't I? We did a little bit of research and found out that a lot of the pest control companies here in Joplin were what we call baseboard sprayers. They come in, they spray your baseboard. The next time you see them is when you forgot to pay the bill and it's buried on your desk in your office. So, so after that research, we decided, hey, we need to bring value back into pest control. And myself, I've had about 10 years of experience in the pest control industry. I worked for 2 other bigger companies. And so I know a lot of the do's and don'ts of pest control, what to bring to the table, and where pest control is really lacking. So that's why Joplin. So you might say, I'm going to spend most of my time here today, guys, but you might say, well, what? You're talking about pest control. Why do you have a picture of a couple cars up there? So this is where it gets good. So how many of you in this room have pest control? Okay. For those of you that raise your hand, how many of you know exactly what your pest control company does whenever they're there? Okay. You should definitely know what your pest control company is doing, because communication is so important in pest control. I cannot stress that enough. So you should know exactly what they're using. You should know a detailed report about what they found, and you should be getting a good follow-up after that service. So a lot of companies in this area represent this Ford Taurus right here. So Ford Taurus is an economy car. A lot of companies in this area will go in, they'll try to undercut us. They'll offer pest control at a cheaper rate, and this is our biggest challenge in Joplin. They'll offer a cheaper rate, but what that customer is getting is a Ford Taurus. They might be promised a Mercedes-Benz, but they're getting a Ford Taurus. And so, It's Bugs or Us represents the Mercedes-Benz right here. We're going in, we're doing a full inspection, we're communicating with the customer, we're letting the customer know everything that we saw, we're spraying every crack and crevice, we're not just spraying baseboards and leaving. And then, with that, we're giving a great follow-up. And so, by doing this, let me just say, there's not a car salesman in the four-state area that could sell this car right here, or that could sell this car right here for this price. There's not a single one in the four-state area that could do that. So our biggest challenge is when we're giving more value and we're adding value to pest control, our biggest challenge is the guy that's coming in and undercutting, spraying baseboards and leaving. Of course he can do it cheaper. He's coming in, he's using a cheaper chemical, he's spending a lot less time, and then, not following up, so even more, even less time there. And so this is our biggest challenge in this area so far. And then let me just go to the next thing. What you can do for me. Restaurant owners, financial institutions, insurance agents, landlords, property managers, and homeowners. These are all big revenue avenues for us. And some of these, actually most of these, all the commercial ones are monthly services. So generate a lot of revenue for us. So if you can get me in front of restaurant owners, financial institutions, insurance agents, landlords, property managers, and even homeowners, warm introductions, face-to-face meetings would be very helpful for me. So if you have any of those and you can help me out after Chef Mike comes and blows it out of the water, then I would love to talk to you. And I'm Danny Dixon. It's Bugs or Us, and saving the world one bug at a time. Thank you.
Awesome. Stick around here, Danny. Let's give Danny a hand. It was a great presentation. So a few instructions for you, and we're going to make sure that we do follow the rules with this because we are on Facebook Live and we want people to hear. We are going to ask that you do not blurt out questions today. Please, if you have a question, raise your hand and I will bring the microphone to you because we want you to be heard on the video. So please do not speak out of turn. We will come to you, raise your hand, and we'll bring the microphone to you because we want to make sure that the audience that's watching live, they do get to hear the question as well because guess what? They might chime in on the comments or they might send us a message later on and make sure that we can connect them with our presenter. So with that said, let's go ahead and open up for any questions today for Danny.
How are you getting your message out today? How long, and first of all, how long have you been in business here in Joplin?
We started business this year in Joplin, and we're getting our message out through a customer base that was brought in by me. And so a lot of word of mouth, a lot of advertising on Google and on the internet. And so far it's working really well.
So you're trying to differentiate by value, by being the premium brand in the market. How do you create a loop for your existing clients to tell that story? Like, do you have a way? Which ways do you? It's really important to validate with your existing client base, and if you get that perspective out there over and over again, you'll win. So is there a mechanism, and there's a way where you share basically those testimonials?
Okay, so a lot of our customers, of course I communicate really well with a lot of my past customers, And so they bring reviews to the table. Reviews are always big, especially with Google. Most people that search a company always look at the reviews. So I've got testimonials from restaurant owners and other commercial accounts that I have also. And through a good relationship with them, I'm able to get those testimonials and push it in to It's Bugs or Us. Does that make sense? Okay.
So Danny, you said that you're doing more than just baseboard spraying, as you referred to it. Will you walk me through your process?
Yeah, I'm
and tell
sorry,
me what
I-
makes it special about that?
Absolutely. So I'm sorry about that. So what makes Bugs R Us so special and the extra things that we do is, first of all, as I mentioned this, is communication. Communication is so important. And I worked for 2 other bigger companies, so I can tell you that there's a real lack of communication with some of these bigger companies. And we're going in, the first thing we do is an inspection. And so we're inspecting up high, we're inspecting down low, we're doing a complete inspection. So we might have got called there for ants, but it doesn't matter. We're there, we're doing a complete inspection. We're checking out any other issues that are going on, termites, you name it. We're doing a complete inspection. We're documenting all this so the customer gets a complete detailed report on each visit. Another thing that we're doing that a lot of, I'm not saying every other pest control company is not doing, but a lot of them aren't doing, is removing spider webs. So by removing the spider webs, you're really helping eliminate, those egg sacs from hatching and from that customer having further problems down the road. So we remove spider webs on each visit. The customer knows exactly what chemical we used and where we used that chemical. So we might use a couple different chemicals. They know where we use this chemical, where we use that chemical. And then also, we're doing a great follow-up. And this is something that a lot of pest control companies in this area are just failing miserably on, is follow-up. So that's what makes us different.
Danny, you mentioned on the follow-up, you pride yourself on that. Tell me about that process when you sit down and visit with that homeowner or business person. Tell me about that process, and then I have a follow-up question after you answer that.
Oh, okay. Generally on a follow-up, we're going to that address. We are talking to the customer, finding out how their situation is going. If they're still seeing the insect that we treated for, we treat again at no extra charge. It's part of the service. And then we are making suggestions, for anything further. Making sure that customer is happy, making sure that they understand what's going on. We're educating that customer. So.
And my follow-up to that would be, one of my favorite business books is Buzz Marketing, and this was pre-social media. Mm-hmm. But when you're in that follow-up and your client is happy, you may consider just taking a picture with them. They're excited, and then think about the details of a question you would ask and get 5 referrals from them. Asking them who else cares about their family and their business at a level that you do with the service we provide, and that might help you on a pathway to get some more warm referrals for what you're looking for.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Good job, by the way.
Thank you.
So on the reports and stuff you were talking about, is that a written report? Do you email it to them? How are you doing that?
Yes, it's through email. And actually, we have 3 different ways to do it. It's just what that customer prefers. We can send it via text, we can send it email, or a phone call.
That was the other part of my question, is that are you collecting all your customers' information? And do you have an email marketing or texting marketing? Or
Yes, we have a software, it's called Pest Routes. And so this software keeps track of all that for us, puts it in there. It'll give us detailed reports on how much chemical we used, how frequent the customer was, what their subscription is, if they're a quarterly customer, monthly customer, residential, commercial. It'll tell us all that stuff, so it keeps track of all of it for us.
So, I know you said one of your biggest struggles is your value and trying to figure out and let everybody know what sets you apart from, being the Ford Taurus. Have you thought about doing, anything tangible or visual to where people can see throughout your day the value that you have within your services? Maybe doing a video of your day and then going back and doing a voiceover to where we can see exactly what your services are and how you provide, and then on those times you can say, hey, this is what the other guys do, this is what we do, and this is why. I think maybe some people are having a hard time grasping the value between your company and maybe some of the competition.
Thank you, that is great. Yeah, definitely.
In terms of value add, I'm a property owner. I own and self-manage, 16 or 17 properties now. The thing that I struggle with at scale is monthly inspections of those properties. The thing that I've always been intrigued about with pest control is that you can be in the properties monthly and you have full access to the entire property. So if you're going to be submitting a monthly report, if you can include red flags for condition of the property as well. If you notice the property is deteriorating, being able to offer that to landlords and property management companies would be a really big value add that wouldn't take much time to do. So,
Absolutely, and so the software that I'm talking about, Pest Routes, it actually has a spot in there. So you, as a property owner, you will get all that information, and then it does have a spot in there for red flags, things that we're concerned about, and we're taking good notes. So if we see like this customer really needs to clean up their kitchen, or they've got a leak over here and it's causing this issue, you know what I mean? You get that information, not your tenant. And so, yes, that is one thing that Pest Routes covers.
Skylar, I can tell you one of the things that we talk about as an ownership team as well is we will sit down with those owners on a regular basis if we need to. Danny will actually sit down with you and go through it and say, I know some holes in the walls, I know some cracks, I know some leaks. He's going to let you know that personally. Any more questions or comments as well?
Just real quick, as a homeowner, I am ignorant on all things pests. I wonder if there's something that you could do, just offering free, quick, something online, just talking generally difference between pests, difference between chemicals, some free community service, so that you can be like you can kind of set yourself up as the expert in town, just little quick spots. I don't know, just an idea.
That is a good idea. And one thing that really bothers me is I get on TikTok or social media and you'll see somebody on there that think that they have all the natural home remedy ways to take care of all this stuff, and you're just thinking inside your head, you're thinking, if that worked, I'd have a truck full of it, you know? And so that's a really good idea. And something that we definitely need to think about, JD. So. Ex-wives only. Sorry. I'm just kidding. No pesky neighbors.
Hello.
Hi.
So throughout your presentation, great job, by the way.
Thank you.
I was checking out your website real quick, and I see that you're a franchise, and it was clearly started in Texas because the state outline is in the logo itself. So as a franchise that's branching out into other states, you want to either represent those other states in the logo just like this, or generalize the logo more, which so you may need to talk to the proprietary owners of that brand itself to talk about how you can target the logo and your branding specific to this area, you'll want to look at that on your website too, because your website talks a lot about Texas and what you do in Texas, and then there's one little section about Joplin. And so you really want to think about that. I know you're probably already there.
Yeah, we're working on that. So
one of the main things, just adding on to that and branching off, is in your website you talk about all the different types of bugs that you treat, which is great. But you talk about here in the presentation where you make your most money is serving those other businesses and property owners, but you don't talk about them at all on your website. You don't talk about the services that you can provide specific to business owners, schools, financial institutions, anything like that. So you want to talk about on your website, talk to your customer specifically. Don't talk about what you do. And that's for everyone here. Thanks.
That's good. Is this recorded so I can
Yes.
go back? Awesome. 'Cause I wasn't writing any of it down, so.
We have time for a couple more questions, or if you've got some Shark Tank ideas, feel free to share. We have time for 2 more before we bring up Chef Mike.
Somebody else.
So, kind of on the tidbit of, just giving out some of that, free advice. Well, I can attest to actually something Danny told me I think it was the last or the second meeting we had here, just to get an idea of, hey, do you have some bugs here and there? So he told me, hey, go get some sticky traps, see what comes of it. It's kind of scary and kind of freaky because every time I go out in my garage, I got 4 different traps. And I didn't think I had a spider problem, but there are a lot of spiders that meander through our garage, and there's probably like 40 of them in those 4 traps in the last probably 3 days for sure. So I think, just some of those tidbits where it's not like, oh, hey, you're going to charge me to tell me, hey, do this, because that's not going to put a damper, but it's some beneficial information just to, do test the waters. And, if somebody's like, hey, I don't necessarily want you coming out to my house, is there a little tidbit? And then it's like, hey, they realize I got a lot of spiders. Like, there's a lot of brown recluses, and I actually knew somebody that passed away from multiple brown recluse bites. So, like, that's always been in my head, like, oh man, I want to get rid of these spiders, and now I'm seeing a lot of spiders in a little amount of time. So, just kind of spread those tidbits to people. That helps and markets in a way. So.
Thank you.
We have time for 1 more question or comment today.
Hi, Danny. Building on a couple of the points that others have made, curious when you talk about the value and the baseboard sprayers. And I'm ignorant on things, pests, so wondering, do you get calls from people that have had previous pest control people into their homes, business, etc., and find things that maybe were not being picked up by those baseboard sprayers?
Yes.
Okay.
All the time.
From a
yeah.
competitive element, because it sounds like this is kind of a competitive scenario you're in, if you have those photos and videos, so again, it builds on things other people have said, that builds to the evidence piece, right? That you can put it on your site, in your posts, whatever, without naming other people, but again, getting the idea of, we're kind of the Lexus, kind of product. So from kind of that competitive element, maybe incorporating some of those things into your, free or, your general information about us, kind of area. So might be some things to kind of consider to kind of help differentiate, right?
Right.
And to really provide the evidence that, yes, we do more than your typical baseboard sprayers. So just some thoughts.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Let's give Danny a hand this morning. Thank you. Awesome.